We're continuing on with the Devo series called Tell Them, telling our children and the next generation of all the goodness of God, because they're going to be listening to someone, and it should be us. This one's called Deliverance Day. It's now much later since the last Devo, and deliverance has come, and the children of Israel have exited their slavery, and God is telling Moses something again to tell his children. God's mighty hand brought them through the Red Sea, defeated their oppressor, and the people are no longer enslaved. It's a huge deal in Exodus 13. And now they're having a day to commemorate this deliverance with a festival. I love festivals. I love attending them, eating the food that they sell in the booths, looking at all the wares that people made. It's just the best. And in verse 8, God says to tell your sons, I do this because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt. We know that Egypt was slavery, and now God's people are set free. So think about when you were enslaved with some sin. Maybe it was hatred for your own father, or some addiction, or bitterness toward those that wronged you, or perhaps you were full of pride and disdain for others. Any number of things that kept you bound. And I bet you often give thanks silently by yourselves for the God that saved you and delivered you and set you free. But have you told your kids? It might be fun to have a festival of sorts, a celebration to tell them. It could be Christmas in July, it could be a hot dog at a picnic, or just family barbecue to commemorate God's deliverance as you share these stories. In verse 14 it says, your son's going to say, what does this mean, this festival? And you're to answer him, with a mighty hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. And it says it will be a sign on your hand and a symbol on your forehead. When my parents passed, my mom 5 years ago and my dad just recently, we gathered the kids around and gave them something to remember their grandparents. The girls got costume jewelry to remember their grandmother, and the boys picked out caps to wear, all symbols and signs to remember. These guys in this chapter were reminding the next generation of how the cloud led them by day and the fire at night. Maybe when they roasted over an open fire, it could be a memory or to commemorate God's deliverance. My dad told us over and over again of his rescue in World War II when he was in a scary plane ride, and he promised if God landed him safely, he would devote his life to him, which he did. He told us that story over and over again, and now we're telling our kids. But if we don't tell the stories, if we don't commemorate the events and call the family to hear, they won't know. Our kids won't know what to do when they pray and nothing happens unless we tell them how faithful God is. Our kids won't know how to recover if they obey God to love that friend only to have that friend betray them, if we don't tell them of God's mercy and love in our own lives. This story of being enslaved by a harsh taskmaster, of having to wait through multiple plagues in years, or being pursued by armies, but then seeing them destroyed behind them while they were crossing on dry land was worth telling, and God did not want the people to forget to tell the children. So sit back and recall your own deliverance or enslavement and deliverance. Kids need to know the mighty hand of God personally, how he came through for their aunt, their friend, their grandfather, their brother. But they won't if we don't tell them. And what better way to celebrate that goodness than with a festival of sorts, an occasion to eat and be merry, and to tell the tales of how we were once lost and now found, and how we were once blind but now we see.